What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of No Client Agent Privilege, aka NoCAP. This your boy Evan, your boy Will. We are back under the Tiki Hut, and we are the nightcap version tonight. Got our cigars and whiskey, hanging out. Cheers to you, cheers to us. Man, football is in full swing. We are back, baby, back. So, I mean, I guess we can start off with all the good of the what's been brought to us in these last 2 weeks, in week 0 and week 1, and kind of just the surprises, the good surprises, the bad surprises, what we kind of thought was going to happen, what we didn't know was going to happen. Some of these teams that had cupcakes that were supposed to be cupcakes that weren't cupcakes and turned into a battle royale. So let's just kind of dive in, and we can start. I mean, I think the most obvious is Miami. Are we back? Is it finally time that we can throw this up without being embarrassed? I mean, I think I've said it from day one when Cam Ward finally decided he was coming back. That Miami landing him was probably the biggest prize out of the entirety of the transfer portal. I really do.
Probably.
To this day, I still think that.
Yeah, that wouldn't be hard to say, especially now. Obviously you called it much earlier, but Miami, I haven't really seen a tremendous Miami team. I can't really remember.
Well, yeah, you would have been just born when the good ones were gone.
It's like every 10 years, they finally are done being in
the
trouble
U is
or
back,
whatever.
and then it's like
they're
we're
always
not back.
getting in trouble too. And
I mean, we were always, even growing up. The thing was, going to Miami, you were either on a band bowl or you had recruitment issues. So it's like one or the other. So you either didn't have enough scholarships, or you were not going to a bowl that year.
Right.
So those were your options going to Miami. It was great to go to Miami because you still had all the legends around, but even still, I mean, that game, I think, to me, I mean, now I laugh because, Florida, we can just go right into it and say they're bad. Not bad, but it was not what they wanted to see. So I think for me, now that they announced the DJ kid's going to start for Sanford game.
Okay.
But they're saying, oh, he had a concussion. Meltzer? Graham?
Honestly, no.
The UF quarterback. They said he had a concussion after Saturday. So is that on UF's training staff for not getting him out of the game sooner, or where? I mean, is that going to be
really going to put all?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what you're really trying to say. Oh yeah, our 5-star plus is now going to come in because our starting quarterback that just got toasted last weekend. Yeah, we're gonna put in the 5-star. Like it's such a hard decision.
It's like a PR move.
Like the guy, and the guy, it's not like this is his first year. Like this is his second year in the system. Like I don't know. For me, I laugh because here we are, two games into the season, or one game in for them, but week 0 for FSU.
Right.
And they're already written off. DJ is already off the draft board.
0-2 before week 2.
What a way to come off.
Crazy.
I mean, I think the FSU fan basis is taking it the hardest. I believe that they're taking it too hard
because everyone had a chip on their shoulder. Everybody and their mother of FSU's fan base had a chip on their shoulder coming into the season, and now
rightfully so, though. Rightfully, I mean, take out the Travis injury. Do they get into playoffs? Yes. Travis was injured. They didn't get into playoffs.
But it is what it is. Won the playoffs?
Not without Travis. Not without Travis. No, we know that.
Nah, I don't think so either.
But Georgia wasn't in it, so it's hard to say too because they wouldn't have played Georgia, who was the better team by far. So,
absolutely.
And we can see that just from the Clemson game that Georgia just played, how good Georgia is.
Yeah, Georgia's still there.
So Carson Beck coming back, huge. I mean, legitimately a returning defense. I mean, they lost a lot, but they just replenish. So
Georgia's problem is keeping them out of jail for driving related incidents.
Can we take away the Hellcats? Just
Hellcats
put them on a time. Put them on a timer. You can only drive them between these hours.
Like a go-kart. It hits 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
it dies.
It dies.
That would be ideal. I mean, obviously they're there year in, year out, so it doesn't seem like it's a huge issue.
But Kirby Smart's got the system down pat. I mean, if he's not the next Nick Saban, I don't know who is, because he's done it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think Alabama players had issues like that.
I mean, there was always stuff sweep. I mean, there was always stuff that we didn't hear, but trust me, there's and that's every school. Georgia just is in the public eye because they're number one. You take that. You can go to any school in the country and you can find one or two of those guys that are doing the exact same thing. It's just not as publicated because those teams are not number one. It
Right.
happens all across. So like to the Georgia players, you just got to know where you are.
Right.
Like you got to understand the
Yeah.
microscope that you are under being number
Speaking
one.
of like microscopes and teams being in different areas, what about the North Dakota and the Colorado
Ooh.
game? Now, see, I watched that game. I obviously, it's difficult nowadays. I mean, for me, I'm sure you too, to catch every single game. But I did see a lot
Oh,
of
I watched a lot of
that
it.
game.
I watched a lot of it.
Um,
I
I
mean,
think it's definitely more on, even though Colorado won, it's still way more on them, their showcase,
for
than it is
sure.
for
No,
North
it is.
Dakota State because
North Dakota State
they're there
came.
every year.
North Dakota State came to play. Like
Yeah,
they came.
that
They
was
came
their
to
Super
show up and
Bowl.
show out.
That was
I
their
mean,
Super Bowl, kind
they're
of.
still gonna
Even
win
though,
they're still gonna
yeah,
go for a national championship. Like they still
that's
gotta
what
go
I'm
through
saying.
Montana and stuff like that.
They
But
do
like
it on a yearly
and the
basis.
FCS side, on the FCS side, they are still top dog.
Yeah,
Like the fact that they came into Colorado, I think it would have been maybe a little bit different if Colorado had gone to North Dakota State, played in the dome, and it would have been a little bit more like, okay, it's a tough environment. We all know that. Like, but it's still FCS.
hmm
Like if that's what we want to, if that's what we want to come down to, and we're talking about strength of schedule and stuff. I don't want to hear Colorado number 12 just because Dion's there when they almost lost to North Dakota State in FCS school at game one. Like I just don't want to hear those same arguments come middle of November, December when Colorado is 11-1, 10-2, whatever they may be. Like I
right.
just don't want to hear those arguments when it comes out. Oh well, they won. That might be true, but what did they win by? So those are my arguments with that. And I mean, again,
I think
did Colorado look
Colorado,
bad though? No, I don't. I don't think they
they
look
still have the
bad.
same problems they did last
Yeah, I think
year.
everything is still the same. I think it's still status quo. But I don't think. I think they did well in the transfer portal, but I just don't see the
Yeah,
progression.
yeah.
I don't see the. I don't see the
The
step up.
O line's still not there as
You have
far
a
as I could
freshman. You have a
see.
true freshman
I,
left
I
tackle
mean, I
who's
think
good.
I think Shador went for, I don't know, 400, was it? Something like that. It
Something
was either
crazy.
around
But
there,
that's what
plus
I'm
or
saying.
minus 50
You're,
yards or
but he's
whatever, and
doing great.
they still only won by what? 5, 6
but,
points? What
but
was
we can
it?
go
6
with that and
points or
say that
something like that?
we could say that the same thing. Oregon. Dylan Gabriel goes for almost 300 yards, 41 of 49, and 2 tutties, and they still barely beat Idaho. Like I mean, how do we like when we talk strength of schedule? How do we go into November, December talking about that? And here we are, Oregon's undefeated, Ohio State's undefeated. They play each other.
The recency bias. They're going to
So I'm
just
telling you,
overlook the first game, and it's like,
yeah.
well, if they start playing better as the
Well, that's
season
saying that. I
progresses,
mean,
then
that's saying that. What if FSU starts playing better? They just had two terrible losses. Do we
that's why
just
there's
do we
12
just
teams.
hello? So I mean I think that is the best part about it because I guess even a 2 seed or a 2 loss team really isn't still out of it if they
Right,
pull the shit together. If they got to
right.
pull the shit, I mean FSU has to pull their. DJ's got a lot to work on. His footwork is what's going to kill him for the rest of his career. And I've said that since his Clemson days. It's just it is what it is. I think he's the player he's going to be. So it's up to Mike Norvell to really pull the trigger if he's going to stick with DJ and groom him and be his system quarterback, which we've seen works.
hmm
We have seen it. They did it to us at UCF when he was at Memphis. They did the same thing to us with FSU when Travis took over. It works. It's a quarterback friendly system. But what's DJ doing for it? So that's on Mike Norvell to really put that together. And I think he came out with the whole, sorry, we could do better, be better,
It
blah blah
makes
blah.
an
Like
interesting spin on the transfer portal, maybe NIL, more so the transfer portal. It's like,
what, paying for the
especially
money,
now that you can
like
pay,
the NIL
you
collectives
know,
bringing them in and stuff.
it's like you're really expected to perform. Like, it's
Bro,
crazy. Like, I don't know
are you
how the
kidding
money
me? Like,
works. I don't know if they get paid all up
well,
front.
we
I
can talk
doubt
about
it.
that off camera because that's not something
But yeah,
we can share. But like,
speculation.
I
But
can give you the
it's
numbers.
just ridiculous that now it's like they're still kids. They're my age. I mean, I'm 22, so
Right.
like 20, 21 year olds, they're coming into these. But I think DJ might be older. I don't know. I think he's been in.
He's a
Yeah.
senior now. He was
Okay.
2
So
years
like,
at Clemson, 1 year at
but the
Oregon,
point
but he's a
is, it's like
senior.
these kids are getting this money, and that's great. Like, I love that they can do that, and especially if they have a bad year and they're able to take that money and say like, all right,
Or a kid like
whatever,
Cam
like
Ward who was at a bad school. Like Washington State was. I mean, they were okay,
you're okay,
but like
you're okay.
they were never gonna win a Pac-12 championship.
No, probably not.
But like him coming to Miami, it was worth every penny to every
Right.
donor.
Well, it depends. That's where the like the parity is, where it's like if the team does bad and then or if a player does bad and they're like, oh shit, like why did we pay this player all
Hello,
this money?
look,
But like it's different in the NFL or the NBA, whatever, pro league, where you can trade
well,
the
yeah,
player, maybe restructure a
of course.
contract or
Hey, you
something.
sucked this year. We gotta restructure so we can
You
bring more
can't
people
do
in
that in with
to
college.
right. Well, I mean,
I mean, I guess you
kinda you
could,
can.
but
It's just
the idea
there's a different
wasn't
way to
for
go.
that
Right,
though.
exactly, exactly.
That's like
That's the thing. It
now we're
wasn't made to
seeing
be like that.
the downside of it, especially
Well,
now
especially
that
when you have donors coming down your throat about their collective and the money that they just donated to this grouping, and now they're coming back, Coach, you told us this, you told us that, you said this kid was the next Messiah, blah blah blah. Whatever it is that they want to
what's
come
even in it for them anyway?
glory. Say, oh, guess what? I got to pay. I got to do this. I got to donate to this. But some people,
Well, for
that's the
some
difference. But
season
see,
tickets,
that's the difference. Okay, so
some cabana
that's
seats.
the difference between college fan bases and pro fan bases.
Can't do that in the pros.
No,
You
you
just
are
kind of
so diehard in college. Like I know more guys that are college fans and don't watch any NFL and versus NFL fans that don't watch any college. So it's like to me, like I know people like the thing is like people who love Alabama. They don't
hmm
love Alabama because they went to Alabama. They love Alabama because they were winning. Like there's so many Alabama fans that
yeah.
nobody that they did not go to Alabama but they love Alabama. Like, so I don't know. I mean, for me, I look at it at that point where it's like, okay, here we are, college football, pay to play era. NCAA needs to just be gone at this point. Like, the NCAA shouldn't even be involved in any of this stuff anymore. It's like, at this point, be gone. They shouldn't even be there in the first place. I don't know. Have we ever had that conversation
I
about,
think it was mentioned.
yeah,
Yeah,
like the NCAA made itself up about like a 50, 60 years ago. And they were just like, you know what? We'll come in, we'll be a non-profit and we'll organize all this BS, blah, blah, blah. Like the NCAA should be gone, period. Point blank simple. Like they cause too much issues that don't need to be aroused.
it's kind
Like,
of like Great Britain with the U.S. The
yeah, yeah,
colonies.
yeah.
It's
Hey,
like
we don't need you anymore.
we didn't ask you to watch over us. We
Right.
kind of just said, hey, like this is what you're gonna do, and this is
Right.
what we're gonna
It's
do,
our
and like it's
colonies.
cool,
Like, yeah,
right? Like
like we're in control now. So yeah,
yeah,
that's a good example. Like, we're a little history lesson for
yeah,
everybody out
right,
there.
right.
So
I feel that the NCAA kind of definitely lost its um, glory when the whole NIL, the cases, the Supreme Court
I mean,
rulings,
it
and
was
all
coming.
that.
It was a long time coming. Like the Northwestern case was gonna be it. So
What was that, Fitzgerald?
yeah, yeah. So that was the first domino to kind of
Right.
get things
I'm
rocking
going
and
over that
rolling.
case right now.
Oh, are
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
for law.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, nice,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
That was a good one. We did that one. I did that one sports law back at UCF. My
Okay.
professor, she was actually a UF grad
Okay.
lawyer. She had her own law firm. She was like, I want a sports one from you, and I was like, oh, okay. That was Fitzgerald. That was the first
For sure.
year.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so that
yeah.
was the first year it happened. So,
We went over the Plancher case too.
oh, that's a good one. That's
Yeah,
a good
the
one too.
UCF,
Yep, yep,
UCF player.
yep.
Yeah, that sucks. What they did to. We're not gonna go down
I
that
know,
that
I know.
trail, but anyway, getting
Speaking
back
of
to the.
UCF, I guess we could stick with UCF as the topic. And I
Yeah, we
mean,
could. We
I mean,
could.
here's my unbiased opinion. It was New Hampshire. You grade it. How do you grade it? You got a good win. You got some good things. You got some bad things. You got some things you need to work on. You got some things that you might have expected, but like maybe got a little bit out of hand.
I
Like
mean, a couple episodes ago, I know, like, I could go back and find it, probably, where I said that I heard that KJ Jefferson was not looking good in
well,
camp.
I mean, so those are your two. We're back to the NIL and the money
Well,
talks.
exactly,
Like here we
exactly.
go. Like is
It's
that
where do you go now? It's like you really gotta like it's weird
trust
because like
me,
you don't want to
have
go
to.
up to him and be like, "Yo, we're paying you all this
No,
money.
no,
Like, you
no,
need
you
to,
don't. That's not.
you
Yeah, not in
like
college.
it
In
has to
college, you
be
don't.
more of a nurturing type of
You gotta play to your play.
situation."
You gotta be to your player's
Right.
abilities. Like if you know he's not the greatest passer, and this is to anybody. This is to any school anywhere. If that's the case, then you need to throw the routes that he can throw. Like I understand over routes and stuff like that is a lot of timing. It's not necessarily that the skill set, the throwing motion. Sometimes it's just timing. Sometimes it's just like the quarterback has bad timing
Or
with the receiver
decision making.
or
Even you
decision
can't be
making.
throwing into double
Well, that
coverage and
too. But you and I completely understand with regards to you're playing New Hampshire, you're gonna throw it up, you're gonna give your guys a chance, and I get that. But at the same time, be smart.
I mean, you started the game 0 for 5.
I know.
Which was crazy, and they were bad. They were bad, like bad. I'm not a college Division 1 quarterback, but
Do you want more? You good?
yeah. They're just bad
I
passes.
mean,
And you
that's the
almost
thing.
threw a pick.
All right.
Almost threw a pick. You know,
I mean, again,
from
it's game one on a new team,
all
new
right.
receivers. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt as
For
to
one, how long do you let it?
week 6.
Week 6.
Yeah, because
Well,
that's after
when they're
Colorado.
when
You got to be
they're
4-2. You shouldn't lose to TCU. You shouldn't lose to Sam Houston. Colorado, I can give you if Colorado.
TCU might beat them
I don't know. I didn't really. I wasn't too impressed with
if
TCU either.
KJ Jefferson keeps playing like that, TCU
Of
is
course, I
definitely
mean,
gonna
he has 2 games to get ready for TCU. He has Sam
2
Houston.
more games.
Well,
No, what?
he's got Sam Houston
Yeah.
and then TCU, who's in between,
Oh, I must have
right?
gotten the
Right?
yeah.
No,
I
I'm
thought that
right.
they played 3.
No, they got Colorado that next game, right? After TCU, or am I?
No, you're definitely right.
I was gonna say
You're
I'm not
definitely no, you're
crazy.
definitely right.
Yeah, because we go
Okay, okay.
TCU, at TCU.
This is the other out of conference game.
See, okay, now
The
watching
rest of
UF,
them are
I
okay.
think we can run all over UF. Now watching after what
Yeah,
Miami just
because
did,
our defense is like your
like I think
UCF's defense is like actually a lot
way
better, I
better. Our
think,
linebackers
especially
are
interior.
studs.
Yeah,
Pace and
yeah.
Bar, I'd give them
The
so much.
interior defense is a lot
I
better
give
this year, I
them
feel like. I mean, again, one game,
right,
but
right. But again, I think Pace and Bar, those two backers. I mean, I love my boys, Jean Baptiste and them from last year, and they were great players. But like now watching these backers, they fit the mold for these, and I think with regard,
Morris Brash.
yeah, Morris Brash,
You
yeah,
think step up
yeah,
from
finally,
yeah.
finally. I mean that how he was a number. He was like, all right. So just getting off topic real quick. Trey was literally graded as like the number 4 most impactful rookie non-drafted coming out, and he still got cut. And he's like, now finally gets on the practice squad. Like, how does that happen? He's like the 4th
Isn't there
rated.
something? But like we were talking about that. It's like, can you like cut like make your cuts and then bring players back?
Yeah,
Does
well,
that
it's a
happens,
practice
right?
squad, but
Well,
yeah, but you go through the rankings and then you go through your first cuts. Then after
so then
that,
that means that nobody else wanted him either.
well, you go through
Basically,
waivers, yeah, basically. But usually waivers, you gotta have somebody that kind of already wanted you, because like they're kind of like, oh,
right?
let's see how he does on somebody else's team, and then if they don't cut him, then we'll take him.
He's gonna end up being really good. I mean,
Hell
I
yeah.
think
I
so.
I mean, after what I just watched, like this preseason, showed me everything I needed to see with him with regards to being a pro.
Right. And I thought with how much they were posting him on Instagram
Bro, that's what
that
I'm saying.
they would have picked
That's
him
what I'm
up.
saying. I
How
just
much is the minimum for for a linebacker in the
for
league, like rookie minimum, like or
I
what
mean
like
shit, even if he's on the practice squad, it's 11 grand a week.
oh, is
A
it?
week.
Oh,
A week.
well,
11 grand a week.
11 grand a
And
week?
you
A
practice like 3
week?
days.
A
Yes,
week?
a
And
week.
there's 52 weeks in a year. That's like
No, no, no,
200
no, no,
grand.
relax. It goes like it's season.
Oh, all right. Wait, a
Relax.
week of the season.
Season, yes, 18 weeks.
Still good.
Which,
That's still a lot more money
duh.
than people make.
Hell
And
yeah.
he's
You
getting
only work
fed.
4 days a week.
Yeah.
If you have a Thursday game, you only work Monday.
Yeah.
You work
That's true.
Monday,
Yeah, right.
Tuesday you got film and uppers. Thursday, Wednesday you're traveling. Thursday you play.
Right.
So it's like you're really working that week, and you probably don't have practice Friday, Saturday. You might have
That's
film
the
on
life,
Sunday.
right?
Hell yeah,
As
practice
long as he can
squad,
get
baby.
better, as long as he
Well,
can
of
get better,
course
and
you
I'm
got to
sure he
stay
doesn't
on
want
it.
to.
You
Yeah,
got to stay
yeah,
on it
that's
because
the thing.
they'll replace you real quick. You
Oh
you
yeah,
come bumming around. You get hurt. They'll find somebody to fill that spot real quick.
absolutely.
So
But yeah, so UCF, looking ahead to the Colorado game, are you going? Or do you want to?
I
Or
mean, yeah, but at this point, I'm not paying $300 for a
to sit?
freaking
Yeah.
to sit nosebleed being a relative term at UCF Stadium. But even
Right.
my connections don't have tickets for this game. So and I completely understand it's a sellout stadium, blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
yeah, yeah.
But I'm definitely not calling in favors for this game because
I
I'm not a hype believer. Like I love us and I love what we can do this
uh-huh.
year, but like this team has a lot to still prove to themselves. Like New Hampshire was New Hampshire, whatever. Yeah, you still put up
Right.
the running back. I mean, those four horsemen, boy, if they don't rush for 200 yards a pop each game, like
A
each
pop?
yeah, each. I'm talking like if we
Yeah,
get in
especially if KJ can't throw the
yeah,
ball.
if we're having issues there, I mean, RJ, my boy Penny, like Montgomery. I love Montgomery. I don't know where he came from, but I love him. He's a stud. And then Johnny, of course, I've always loved Johnny. I mean, I wish he was about 6 foot because he'd probably be the number one draft pick coming out of running backs.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, there's still so much for this team to prove, and I have a lot of love for this team because I think it's probably one of the better overall, like since our undefeated run.
Mhm.
Like since then, I really haven't seen a
Mhm.
team this well put together. Because even the last couple years, we've always been missing something.
Yeah.
We've always been missing some type of
Yeah.
gap in our defense, gap in our
Mhm.
offense. Something was just missing. Like last year, RJ had a breakout season. The year before that, we were missing O linemen. And the year before that, we were missing DBs. Like there was still a lot of stuff. Like every year, we had something missing. So
Right.
hopefully, this is that year where we found our stuff in the transfer portal. We found our quarterback. We found our system that fits
Well,
him.
that's the thing about Gus. They say that he recruits really well. We saw that. Check that
Yep,
box.
boom,
But what
literal
about
boom.
the the late season success? Where does he's got to find some of that as well,
Well, that's always been
That's been the thing
the
about
thing.
him,
Yeah, is it Gus or
the team,
the team?
which I guess what
Comes
he
comes
coached
to both.
for he coached somewhere else before Auburn. What
Uh,
I'm gonna have to look it up.
I mean, I feel like he's been coaching for a long time. So like he's probably been a few.
Oh, Arkansas State. That's what I was hearing about. He had some success there, and then he went to Auburn, or maybe the other
Well,
way.
he was at Auburn first
Yeah,
for the
that's what.
longest
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then he
And then
went to
yeah, yeah,
Arkansas
yeah.
State and took over
That's
there, and
what it
then
was.
came back to Auburn because it was one of those. He left Auburn, went to Auburn, came back, and like had success.
Right.
So
Miles Montgomery came from Cincinnati. That's
Cincinnati,
what it
right? Because
said.
he
Yeah,
came with pace.
yeah,
He
yeah.
came with the kid pace, the
Hmm.
linebacker. That's right.
But yeah, I mean, moving on. I mean, we talked about UF a little bit, but they look like they're in some trouble as well. Just
I think it's just
overall.
Billy Napier
Peop
at this
You
point.
think
I
so?
think
You
so.
think so?
I mean,
I don't know enough about him to really
I mean, not
comment on
not
that.
him, not him specifically, but like just from everything that we've heard and everything that we've seen from players, like you don't go on like
Oh
the one
no.
player who's like fuck this team or whatever. Like you don't
Yeah.
go on. Oh, come on, man. I don't care how bad your team. I don't care if you're talking. Like I hope he was just talking about Miami. I hope it was like misread that like he was in the middle of the
And
locker
then
room.
Napier's was talking about rural Central Florida
Oh,
basement.
bro, come on, man. Like you got to leave that shit out the window. Like, come on. Like you can't sit there and expect me to feel bad for you because somebody's talking on Twitter. Like,
Got to be a little bit tougher than that.
bro,
As
you're
a
the head.
leader,
You're the
as a
head
leader,
coach,
yeah.
man, and you're coming out with that kind of stuff. Like, come on. I mean, I don't want to hear it from my head coach as a player that I'm worried about rural, Orlando, Central
Rural
Florida.
Central Florida.
Like, come on,
That's
dude. That's
funny.
like 4 weeks away. Like, let's just worry about Sanford at this point.
Right. I mean, then we have FAU.
Hey, they covered,
They
baby.
played.
They
Yeah,
covered,
yeah,
baby.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
They
Hey, they,
played. They played
hey,
a
I would have
decent
made
game.
so many people rich if they would have just. They asked me for a lock. I gave it to them, and I said, "Hey, my boys at FAU will cover." And you know what? They covered, and well, I didn't bet it. I didn't like. All right, well, don't ask me for another lock the rest of the season. That's it. I'm done. You got your one lock. Yet I gave it to you. You didn't cover. You didn't
No
pick it.
more.
That's fine. That's fine.
No more free
Don't holler
play.
at your boy no more.
No more
I
free
told
play.
you. I told you what was coming.
Yeah,
I did do a 10 bet
FAU.
parlay and I went 7 for 10. I'm
Did
so
you?
mad because it was West Virginia, Penn State. West Virginia, you
Oh,
killed me, bro. I took them to win. I was on the Pat
my
McAfee hype train.
my boy turned $5 into 1,700 this past weekend. Yeah,
Woo,
on
holla
a
at your
nine
boy.
on a 9-bet parlay. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, he loses a
Mm-hmm.
lot. He loses a lot. Yeah,
Don't we all? Don't we all?
yeah,
So
but they didn't look too bad. I didn't see a lot of the game,
what the
but
Florida? Oh, FAU?
FAU,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't see any of
Don't
the
give me
UF game, to be
don't get me
honest.
started on our guy. He didn't get one
Oh
single pass.
no, but he played though. I know he played,
They played, but like
but
he's one of the best deep threats they have, and they didn't throw it to him once.
right.
I'm not even gonna get into that
Yeah, I
because
don't know. That's
I'll go on
sports
a spree.
politics right
I'll
there.
go on a spree on it. So I'm not
But
gonna even. Not, hey, why we good, baby. We gonna keep working. Just you keep doing your thing, big dog. Don't worry about it.
I mean, I think that they had definitely had a chance to win that game. Michigan State's never been like, I don't know, they've never really been
No,
like
they've been all right.
crazy.
No, they've always been good.
I
Like
know them
solid.
for having Draymond Green on the spring game
And
team
having
years
an
ago.
arena or having a football stadium named after their basketball coach or
Yeah,
their locker room named after their basketball coach. Like that's
good for
hilarious.
them. Good for
Um,
them. But I mean, FAU, I think, from what I saw, again, this is just game one going into the rest of the
right, they
season
play Army. Army will
speculation,
be a
but
good test for them because Army is going to come and pound it down their face. Like they are
yeah,
going to give it to them.
yeah.
So
Are you
it'll
going
be
to the
interesting.
game?
No, I work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I work.
No,
Um,
it's noon game, I think. Oh no, it's not. Yes, it is. Yes,
is
it
it?
is.
Is it
Yeah,
a
it
noon
is.
game?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, it might be. It might be a noon game. I might try and slide. I'll text Wyatt
Yeah,
see
it
if he's
is a
got me.
noon game.
Is it? Okay, I might
Yeah,
slide. At least for the first half, for sure.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you could try. It's not like it's gonna be sold out or
No,
anything.
no, no. I mean, I just like going in and saying, "Oh, I'm Wyatt's NIL agent."
That's how it is.
The girl is the funniest when I go to the tickets. She's like, "Oh, you're Wyatt's NIL agent." I'm like, "That's me. Holler at your boy. Holler at your boy."
You gotta get that student section
Oh,
ticket.
no, they gave him family pass. I usually
Oh,
sit with his mom.
really?
I usually sit with his mom and dad.
Oh,
They
okay,
usually
okay,
come down
okay.
for the games and stuff. They're from Atlanta, so they just fly.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like a
Okay.
$70 flight. It's no big deal.
Okay.
But yeah, I usually sit with them. His dad's hilarious. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're getting ready. I'll be there on
I was to say
Saturday.
you're working, so.
Yeah, yeah. I had to drop off a bunch of stuff today to
Oh, did you?
different sponsors and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah. But
So,
but
you know who my biggest surprise? Well, I should say surprise, but like I knew they were gonna be good. I just didn't think after all the hype because of the amount that they lost.
mhm.
Tennessee, man, they are real.
Yeah,
They are.
absolutely.
If I'm in the SEC, I am very afraid. I would be very,
They've been
very
waiting for
Ole
it for
Miss,
years now, though. Back to
Alabama,
the Hendon Hooker
Georgia.
days.
I'm telling you, like if I'm in the SEC, I am very, very cautious when Tennessee is on my week of scheduling. Like I watched that game, and don't get me wrong, it was Chattanooga, not the greatest,
Tennessee showdown.
but when I say watching that Nico kid throw the ball, I mean he's not draft eligible this year, but he will be number one quarterback taken next year.
Okay,
Like he will, Nico. You can
we'll have
clip
to
that. I would say
bookmark
clip
it.
that one. Clip
We'll have
that
to
one.
bookmark it.
Like Nico, watching him throw that ball.
Mhm.
I mean, Joe being a 5'6" kid, I watched him throw in high school. Joe Milton. Like I
Mhm.
understand why the Patriots love him so much because he just, I mean, just flicks it. He could throw it 100 yards, no problem. Like I know he can.
That's
He
crazy.
says it. He says it all the time. Like 95 is no problem. So I believe that he could throw 100. And watching him throw, it's not really that surprising. But Tennessee for me is probably like if they go. I think they're at Georgia, right? Are they at?
Yeah, on the 15th.
They're at Georgia. If
But they have a good schedule
it's
here.
SEC baby, it's SEC. They don't
Well,
cupcakes.
yeah.
They got at Oklahoma. If they win that, that's huge. At where are they at? No, they got Alabama
Alabama
home.
at home.
That'll be the deciding factor if they can win the SEC West or SEC East.
They still have divisions. I think they got rid of them.
Did they get rid of them
I don't know
finally?
if they
I
got
hope
rid of
so.
them.
Finally, I hope they got rid of them. They don't need them anymore. But anyways, what I was gonna say is,
Yeah, no more East and West because they added Texas and
oh
Oklahoma.
right. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
that
think
thank
they
God
play. Oh yeah, they play Oklahoma, like you said. That's one of the Big 12 adaptions.
they win that game. They need to be very afraid.
UCF almost won that game last year.
They should have won that game
Yeah, they
last year.
should have won that game.
But I mean, if Tennessee at this point, if they're on my schedule, you should be very afraid.
Yeah.
Very, very afraid. I watched that Chattanooga, and it's not that Chattanooga didn't put up a fight or nothing, and they were that good, but like just watching Heupel's offense with that type of quarterback again, scary, 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 scary.
So what do you kind of just like think about in terms of college football going forward from week 1? You think you can put some team stories to bed for this season already? Like, who are some teams that are like, yeah, you know what? They just
I mean,
it's next year.
we didn't even talk about Ohio State or Michigan because Michigan plays Texas this weekend. I think that'll say a lot.
Okay.
And Texas or Michigan just
Michigan plays Texas this weekend?
yes, and they just benched Orgy for the walk on for
Okay.
Michigan.
Okay.
So now I don't know what Michigan's doing. I mean, that is such a bold move. Like
What, week 1?
week 2, I mean, well, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, my whole thing is here's my thing. You're coming off a national championship. OG is probably I mean, overall your better option,
Mhm.
but you're gonna put him up against Texas's defense right away. This walk on that just survived leukemia. Like, I hope this team just. I mean, I think it's a Disney storytell ending if they come into the big house and lose like to the kid who's just beat cancer or leukemia and the team just rallies around him. Great story, but that is so much pressure. I mean, I hope the kid. I hope he crushes it. I
Right.
hope. I mean, if anything, I
I
hope it's a
agree.
close game.
I
I
agree.
hope it's a close game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But like, do I think that win would knock either one of them out, or that loss would knock one of them? I don't think
Maybe
so.
not, because the conversation was always the whole Ohio State and Michigan playing every year, and like one of them has to
Yeah,
lose, and
and then that's
then
your
that's their
title
whole
shot. Yeah,
season. Now that there's 12
you're
teams and the
good.
Big Ten also got
But
much bigger,
well, that
then
too. But you throw into so like that USC game. Miller Moss comes into town and throws 6 touchdowns on you. Ooh, it's gonna be it's gonna be
and they
another
looked
story.
really good against LSU.
Hey, shout out brother Miller Moss,
They
baby,
looked really good
brother
against
Miller
LSU.
Moss, and Hoke, my homie. So man, he keeps doing his thing. I mean, Caleb Williams too. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah, right, right.
So I mean,
Recency bias, just
yeah,
a thing of the
for
past at
real.
this point.
So I mean, for me, I think having a 12, I mean, that's the best part about having the 12 team playoff is that you can legitimately lose 2 good games and still have your shot. Still, if you're that good, if you're a top 12 team, a legit top 12 team,
Hmm.
you'll make it. You will find a way inside that playoffs, and you'll deserve it because there's going to be a 11-1 team or something that one loss is probably pretty bad.
Right.
So it's like you're 11-2 and you lost to Ohio State and USC, who are also in the playoff. It's like, all right, that's understandable. Or if you have a loss to Tennessee and to Alabama,
Right.
that's
It'll probably
understandable.
come down to that though, whether or not they decide if certain teams get in, as to like,
Well, that
if you lost to two of those
right.
teams, why would they want to see you play again necessarily? Like, you
Well,
couldn't beat this one. You couldn't beat, let's just say, arbitrarily the 10
well,
seed.
that's why you get placed
Then
at
you played the 12 seed in the same conference and you couldn't beat them either.
yeah. But if
So
you play the 12 seed and you
I'm
beat,
just saying, I'm not
well,
saying
yeah,
like the
yeah,
playoff
no,
wise. I'm
well, yeah,
saying
okay,
week
gotcha. Yeah,
9, week
yeah, yeah, nope, I
10.
got you. Yep, yep. I see what you're saying. See what you're saying.
Like, you couldn't, like, for example, you got Michigan, USC right here,
Yep.
right? Or let's just say Michigan loses to Texas, then Michigan loses to USC.
One in conference,
And
one
they
out of
lose,
conference.
well, let's just say they lose to USC and they lose to Oregon.
Ooh,
Do you still put Michigan in? You
nope.
know what I mean? Like, that's what
No,
I'm
no,
saying.
that's
Like,
2 conference losses. And don't get me wrong, they're both good teams. Those are 2 conference losses. So if Oregon and USC make it,
you can't,
you
yeah,
can't put those
right.
in.
But
No
that makes
shot.
sense. That makes more sense.
Right. Agreed. Agreed. And they shouldn't be a top 12 team if they've got 2 conference
Right.
losses.
Yeah.
Like
At that
that's
point,
where I'm at.
maybe,
Like,
maybe not.
yeah,
Maybe
no.
not.
So,
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
like I
It's going to be
said,
very interesting to
it's
see.
gonna that I think the biggest thing will be 10 through 15. Those choices, those choices to see who fits in those molds, to fit in those rankings with a a UCF who's 11-1 with a loss to some bum school, or who knows?
Yeah, they lose to a bum school, they're done.
Well,
I
that's what
don't
I'm
know.
saying. So, like, is that what you rank it? But UCF's a Big 12 team now. How's our bias? Like, how, like, we go into Iowa State, we lose to Iowa State. We all know Iowa State's not easy to play at, but that's our one loss of the season. How do we get left out?
Right.
You know what I'm
Do you
saying?
think now that it's 12, they make all top four, the top four seeds, one from each conference,
You
one from
should.
each?
I mean, that makes sense. I mean,
Well, what if it's
my
just not though?
well, so
What if they
that's
don't
where
do
we
it? It
come.
makes
That's I
sense,
mean,
but that's
so
not
that's
how they
where
have it set. You know what
I
I
know.
mean? It's
So the way they have it set makes the most sense. Like, don't get me wrong, it makes sense. But my thing is, you're gonna find out those 10 through 15 teams are not divided by much.
right. Yeah, you mentioned that.
Like,
Yeah, that's
the
true.
rankings from 10 to 15, the differences are not gonna be much. So how they decide that, who at that time, because you're not gonna have this time around, you're not gonna have a 12-0 non-conference Power
Mhm.
Five not in the top six.
Mhm.
So if that's not the case, where that's been the case because of the
Yeah, it
14, but
has. Right.
now you've got that team already automatically in. Is that our timer?
Yeah,
All right,
but
we'll finish it
yeah,
up. But
yeah,
anyway,
that's fine.
but
I hear you
either
though.
either way, the way it's set up, we don't have to worry about that team anymore.
Mhm.
So now, how do we decide if we're trying to say that group of five or whatever team is a top six team, and they've got somebody else like a UCF that lost at Iowa State as number 11, but for all these years we've talked about how that didn't make a difference because they were a Power Five school versus a Group of Five school. But because that one loss as a Power Five school, they're out. They're not even in the top 10. So
Right.
that's where I kind of I try to think ahead like that, but like you don't really you really don't know because this season I think so far has already taught us to not expect the expected.
Right.
Like that UF Miami game was a perfect example. Cam Ward I knew was going to be great for Miami. Did I think it was going to end up like that? Hell no. Did I think Georgia was going to beat the brakes off Clemson like that? Hell no. I mean, FAU covering was a big deal.
Yeah, it
Like,
was.
going into Michigan State, a Big Ten
Yeah.
school, first, you're
They
supposed to be the
showed
cupcake.
something.
You're
Yeah.
supposed to be the cupcake.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a 28-0 win. Walk out, walk home. Enjoy the beach when you get home. Like, that's what it's supposed to be. So, again, has this season already taught us? I mean, who would have thought 0-2 for FSU? Who had that in the books? I mean, I think this season has already kind of given us that, hey, don't be careful of your parlays. like be very careful what you wish for in
That's
those
the
parlays.
lesson. The lesson for today.
I think that's
That's
your lesson.
the
If there's
lesson for
anything I can
today.
give you guys for the rest of the evening, it's literally be careful with your parlays. Like, I think that's what this season has already taught us. I think North Dakota State covering, like, that was a big deal. I think a lot of the stuff that we were all expecting, Idaho covering, I think that was a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
a
I
lot
was
of
expecting Colorado to lose. I don't like
it's
Colorado.
funny. I told a bunch of kids at school, I was like, watch Colorado lose this tonight. I was in my UCF jersey too, so I was BSing, but I was like, watch.
I don't think Colorado's that good.
Okay. Colorado athletically is good.
Sure.
Athletically
And they're good
speaking,
at making
they have
headlines.
good positional players. Everything else to win a championship, no shot. You
Yeah,
can you
not
can you can
definitely
quote me
not
on
this
that one.
definitely
Like,
not this year. And
well,
when
Shador
they get
and
rid of
it doesn't
Shador
matter.
and
This is their one year.
Shiloh,
If they don't make it this year, even to the playoffs, the Dion experiment is done. I mean,
wah,
I don't
wah.
know who goes to Colorado after everyone's gone. You already lost the number one recruit from the last class. He transferred to UF, didn't he? The cornerback.
Probably.
He
I'm
already
not 100% sure, but
yeah.
I'll take your word
But he's
for
not
it.
even in the worst part is he's not even playing at UF. I don't think. So I don't understand why he transferred to that school. So and he was the number one recruit. So for me, like I said, I think this season has already taught us that we should expect the unexpected. Like, the upsets are coming. Everyone, I think there's two things to the 12 team playoff. Teams think that losing isn't that big of a deal anymore. The big name teams. I think they think, okay, we're good. We one loss, we can still make it. That's what I think the poison in the water is. So to those teams out there that think that, oh, we can just lose one and be okay. just be ready
Yeah,
when you're not number
you gotta
12,
stay ready.
when you're not number 12 at the end of November going into December, just know your boy said it here first. So, again, for me, for the nightcap, this is a great episode. I think next time we'll just have some more bug spray out here, and
Yeah,
we'll
right.
we'll,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
we'll spray down before we get
Cover
out
up a
here.
little
Yeah, I would say
more.
maybe just spray down
Some
before we
candles,
get
some
out here. Yeah,
candles
candles,
honestly would
candles.
probably
Yeah,
do it.
no, candles will definitely do it. So for Will and I, thank you for joining us on our first episode of No Nightcap experience of client agent privilege. Will, Evan, thank you for joining us.